Hello, bonjour, hola, melon saranghae.
Melon saranghae.
Welcome everyone. Today's video is gonna be a little bit different because I'm just gonna sit here and talk. I know, that sounds like so much fun. And to make things even crazier, the topic of conversation is gonna be school. Could it be any better? Just a quick disclaimer. A lot of the times we tend to focus on the more negative sides to school, and because of that we do often forget that education is very much a privilege and not everyone has the luxury to get an education. So those of us who do have that luxury are very blessed, and I'm very thankful that I get to go to school and learn stuff. That being said, with school starting again right about now, I thought I would just tell you about my school journey because I'm conceited and for some reason I'm convinced that that would interest you, so you're welcome. I'm 9 plus 10, which for those of you who didn't pay attention during math, that's 21. I graduated high school 3 years ago. But I'm only now about to start my first year of college. The reason for that is there's many reasons, but there's also not many reasons. I don't really know. I think I should just start at the beginning. Alright, so as soon as I came out of the womb, I pooped on my mom. Wait, sorry, wrong beginning. Fast forward 18 years later, I graduated high school, which is a miracle in itself because even my teachers made it known to me they had no faith in me graduating. My geography teacher kind of went off on me and he was actually really mean and I haven't forgotten about it. I do feel bad for my math teacher though. She really tried with me, she really did, but there was just no hope. Me and math were not besties. Actually, the majority of high school was fine for me. Apart from the fact that my English teacher made me cry because she yelled at me for something I didn't even do. And I should really get over my grudges against teachers. But you can't blame me. A teacher making you cry is a traumatic experience and it still haunts me to this day. If I think about it for too long, I will start crying again. So yeah, I did pretty well in all of my classes, but the last 2 years were, how do I put this? Hell, because my mental health spiraled and 5 years later, we're still recovering! That's not funny. To give you a little bit of context, we have different levels in high school and I followed the pre-university program which lasts 6 years and I'm pretty sure it's the equivalent of A-levels in the UK and like honors classes in the US, but don't quote me on that. The beginning of high school was pretty easy, and when I say easy I don't necessarily mean that the classes were easy or that the workload or anything was easy, but the whole concept of school and studying and doing well at it, that was easy to me. Like it came effortlessly. I didn't have to try really hard. I could just study. I could just do my homework. I could just keep up with classes. Like it didn't really feel like I had to put in a lot of effort, which right now that's crazy to me. Except for maybe math. That was never my forte and nor will it ever be, but I'm okay with that. I would say though that my struggles like with mental health did start pretty much around the time that I started high school. Maybe they even started before that. Those were like the early struggles that I had with mental health. And what I mean when I say early struggles, I mean that it was mostly related to my confidence, or more so the lack of confidence, and my self-image. I feel like this is a common experience in high school. I think a lot of people go through this, so I don't think it's weird that I went through that. That's just something that we all experience as, you know, teenagers. Because at that point, you're still really trying to figure out who you are, but you're also trying to fit in, and it's a really confusing time, basically. It's also not the most, like, healthy and comfortable environment because kids are mean. So it's also very scary and you don't really feel like you have like the room and the space to fully explore who you are. But these like early difficulties that I experienced, it didn't necessarily affect my studies. I was very much capable of keeping it separate from my academic achievements, so it didn't really get in the way of my grades or any of that. It sounds kind of sad, but I don't really think I had a personality back then. I would just go along with the person that I was closest to in that moment. You just kind of feed off of each person's energy that you're around because you don't really have a personality, or I didn't have a personality. I shouldn't speak for everyone else. People probably do have a personality. I just didn't have a personality. So yeah. And at some point, I dyed my hair bright red. And I'm talking Ariana Grande and Victoria's bright red. And everything kind of went downhill from there.
A girl doesn't dye her hair that color unless she has psychological problems.
My hair color has nothing to do with my psychological problems.
Now, I'm not saying that there's a correlation. There might be. Who knows at this point? But when I was around 16, my mental health really started spiraling. I don't really remember that much of that part of my life. What I remember is that I was just really depressed. That's really all I remember. At that point, it did begin to affect things outside of me. When I was just struggling with my identity and my confidence, that was very much just kept in here. That was something that I dealt with on my own, and that didn't really affect that much around me. But once my mental health got worse and my depression made a debut, at that point I really just lost control of the situation, and it just started affecting things outside of me, like my studies and my relationships with friends and with my family. And I also couldn't get myself to do anything. I kind of stopped going to school. My attendance was pretty much non-existent. I just didn't have the energy to get out of bed and to do anything. I didn't really study anymore. When I did end up going to school, it was really hard for me to pay attention. Nothing just seemed to matter to me. Everything just seemed pointless. I had no energy for any of it. When I was in my 5th year, this is the year before you take your finals, one of my teachers suggested that I repeat the year. That was the last thing that I wanted. I had absolutely no intention of making high school last any longer than it already did, so I kindly rejected that offer. Finals came around. I really had no hope for any of that. I was almost convinced that I was gonna fail. So basically I had already made peace with the fact that I probably wasn't gonna graduate, and if for some unknown reason I did end up graduating, I wasn't gonna go straight into college because mentally that just really didn't make any sense. But contrary to popular belief, I ended up graduating. I don't know how that happened, but it did, and that meant I had a gap year to do whatever. I spent most of the time just stressing about what I was gonna do because now I really had to figure it out. I already was a year behind because that's how I saw it. All of my friends, or most of my friends, they went straight into college, and I still hadn't figured out what I wanted to do. So I started researching some studies and I applied to a liberal arts program, but I dropped out after 1 semester because first of all, it just didn't fit me as well as I thought that it would. And I also noticed that I really hadn't made that much progress with my mental health, and I was still struggling a lot, which was really frustrating at that point. I just wasted a year of my life doing nothing. My mental health did not care. She was like, good for you. You just wasted a year of your life. I'm gonna make you waste 2 more. And just like that, 2020 came around. And guess what happened in 2020? By the time I had to enroll for a new study, I already knew everything was gonna be online. I also knew that wasn't gonna work for me. So long story short, it is now 3 years after I graduated high school, and I'm now really starting my 1st year of college. I'm gonna be doing a study called Online Culture Studies. It basically is about social media and society and art also, and how all of these things affect each other, mostly the digitalization of the world, which I guess is a really relevant topic, especially today. And it interests me. It's all stuff that I'm passionate about, and I feel like I'm slowly, starting to do better mentally. I'm definitely in a better place now than I was 3 years ago. I actually spend a lot of time hating myself for being so behind other people my age. A lot of my friends are graduating college right about now, and I'm just about to start. So it feels like I'm running behind when in reality that's just not true. I realized that it's just not fair to you if you compare yourself to other people and if you compare your achievements to theirs, because everyone is different and everyone goes through life in their own way. And if there's one thing that I've really learned and truly believe now, take it at your own pace and look at life as a marathon better than a sprint. I know that sounds so corny. It is corny. I don't care. It's true, okay? You can't rush yourself because you'll burn out. So right now, I'm just taking it one step at a time. I'm doing everything at my own pace, and I'm trying not to compare myself and my achievements to others and their achievements. So yeah, it might have taken me a couple years longer than the average person, whatever that means. What matters is that no matter how long it takes, you'll get there. In the end, it's all gonna be fine. That's the moral of the story. Wow, that was such a serious video. I wish that I could have known what I know now back then, if that makes sense. And I guess that's the point of this video, right? To remind everyone, it will be okay, you know? And we should all just be kind to ourselves. I hope I was able to kind of make that clear. Everyone, good luck with school or work or life. And, you know, remember to have fun and be healthy, be happy, go on a walk, drink a cup of tea, drink water, lots of it, and goodbye.